Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Astronaut. That's the guy you can see on screen right now, and this is going to mark my next entry into the series where I take a closer look at hybrids. Now, what kind of hybrids are we expecting here? On this occasion we are all in for energy weapons. Now, energy weapons, other than in most other games so far, Bethesda games that is, are not a specific class. They are now, just like in Fallout 4, part of whatever class they are happen to be in. Now, for example, laser pistols are under the gunslinger category. Gatling lasers are heavy weapons, and so on. I think you get the point. Now, in other games, it was a skill. There was a skill called energy weapons, which included all the energy weapons, which was pretty straightforward. And generally, I feel like if you're having a role-playing sense of going about things, you kind of want to use all these cool weapons, even though they are kind of underperforming, but it's not as bad anymore as it was when the game dropped. Now, that being said, you can use the whole character with ballistic weapons also. The only thing you have to change probably is to make room for bandolier in order to carry all that ballistic ammo. But other than that, there's no real difference here. What I wanted to do here is mainly focus on VATS and VATS criticals in order to get our damage. Now, this build really needs some certain equipment in order to function right. When I'm talking about certain equipment is you won't be efficient with every heavy energy weapon. For example, the Gatling plasma, or a fairly generic Gatling laser won't be all that useful on this occasion, for the simple reason that they don't really work well with VATS. However, there are some energy heavy weapons that do work well with VATS, and this is mainly the one we're using here, a plasma caster. On our occasion we do have a quad limb damage version, and the other weapon we're using here is a cryolator, of all things. Usually there should be another gutsy here, but maybe we killed him off already. Okay, we just have to get in close. And I mean, the sentry bot isn't the best enemy to show off power or anything, because you just go for the fusion core and it goes down fairly quickly. What we're using on this occasion is a cryolator that has the medics effect, meaning that we heal ourselves when we do VATS crits, and we do have less VATS cost, I think. Just have to double check here. No, VATS crits filling faster and more damage with VATS crits. Now, this works very well together because we do have a build that has permanently 23 luck, which means that with this effect, the faster VATS crits, we can get a crit on every second shot. That means we're healing ourselves a lot and we're getting a lot of damage. Now, the main problem with this build is going to be that you're running out of AP every now and then, especially when you're swarmed like this, but your AP comes back fairly quickly and you can just take off one enemy at a time. On the cryolator, there's a bit more of a problem. I would rather go for something like less VATS cost here, simply because it consumes quite a lot of VATS, so you're basically running around doing little bursts. That's the way to go. But you can always use your other weapons. We shot off pretty much every single one we're using except for this here, the quad plasma pistol, which I've grown to love quite a bit now. You do miss quite a lot of shots, but keep in mind, you're gaining accuracy with every single shot, and yeah, after all, you're having a lot of shots, especially with this quad version here. You basically never have to reload. You have 99 shots, so I just do it out of muscle memory and out of habit, but yeah, you can clear this entire place here and probably never have to reload in the process. This is the best weapon in my opinion for mob busting here, but that's about it. I think we're going to stroll in a little bit into the White Springs just to kill some more ghouls. It's probably the most satisfying thing you can do in this game, I think. And after that, we're going to fast travel to Huntersville. Now, this gives us a little bit of room to talk about. I mean, I have to repeat some things that I said in my first hybrid build video, which First and foremost, console power. Invisible super mutants, I guess. Maybe it's mole miners. This is a really bad example, by the way. I rarely see it so laggy. I'm really not sure what's up with... Yeah, okay, it's mole miners. I really have no clue what's up with servers lately. They're extremely laggy, even though I'm on a private server, so I'm not sure, forgive me. Back to the topic. Hybrid builds, generally not a good idea. You're always missing out on damage potential. Now these guys won't load in also, I guess. You're always missing out on damage potential. You're spreading your perks pretty wide, and you can't really maximize the damage for one certain thing. Now you can obviously just go for pistols or heavy weapons on this occasion and perform way better. That would probably be the best thing to do. However, the reason I'm doing these hybrid builds is simply because I know that you just may like to have the ability to use multiple weapons. Now, you probably don't care for being the most powerful person at a event, for example, so it's entirely possible that you are willing to just leave out on some damage potential in order to play the game the way you want to. Still, you should invest a little bit and think about what you're doing. For example, there's combinations of weapons that just don't work together all that well. For example, you can't really have all the damage perks active at the same time for shotguns and heavy weapons. They both lie in the strength category, and you simply don't have enough points in that category in order to make that work. Now what you can do here is we are using heavy weapons and pistols, which lie in strength and agility, so that works. It doesn't work together perfectly well. A combination that would work well, for example, is riflemen and pistols, because you already want to have a lot of space in perception and agility, so both of those you need for your weapons. That could work very well together. However, on this occasion that's what we decided to go for here, because I think this gives us pretty much the most variety when it comes to energy weapons we can use. It's stressful here because, yeah, on this occasion they went for a bit over... Well, let's see, this could be... Alright, getting swarmed. This could be a fun idea to pull out the Trilator on this occasion. As long as they come in at a time, we can really do some damage here. We don't want to get swarmed too much, so we don't get out of AP, but here you can see a good example of Grim Reaper Sprint, saving our ass a lot. The damage isn't the problem, as long as we can stay in VATS and get our criticals in. That was working quite well, I say. And you can see the only problem is that we're getting irradiated over time. Alright, I have taken a Psycho buff accidentally. That wasn't the plan here. But certainly won't hurt us. Bit more extra damage and tankiness. You can also use this free aim, by the way, not for damage, but if you're going against the boss to freeze it, that's a good idea. If you're at the Scorched Beast Queen event, for example, you can really be a helpful guy once the queen is on the ground. I think we cleared at least the biggest part of the building. I'm not going to search for individuals here. And now let's move on to Hunter's Will. I think we've seen enough of the Crylator. It does certainly work on super mutants as well. The problem is you basically need pretty much one magazine, not a whole magazine, but around 15 to 20 rounds to take down a super mutant, so it's not the most efficient way to go. I'm probably switching to the Plasma Caster, which is our hardest hitting weapon in our arsenal, but Another thing we can do is, I think we're going for the laser pistol here. That's the one we haven't seen in action all that much yet. And I'm pretty proud of how well it works. Also, it's nice because it has quite some good range here, which we can use to clear the guy on the... that should be up there. Alright, I have the suspicion that I have taken out this place fairly soon, so they didn't really... yeah, they didn't regenerate already. So, on this occasion, let's go to General Steakhouse. There are some more ghouls, some more super mutants we can clear out. No problem. And, well, I did quite enjoy the gameplay with this character. You can arguably get more tanky. I just had to switch out some of my better gear. I originally used a lot of AP refresh gear on this character, so I had my AP coming back faster. The reason I switched it out though is I really wanted to have this 23 luck going on all the time in order to get my critical with every second shot when I'm using a weapon that has the faster critical effect. This is something I would change over time. Now, I do still have room in legendary luck, and with every single point I can throw in there, I can take off one of these armor pieces and replace it with something that has AP refresh. So that really makes a big difference. It doesn't seem like it should do a whole lot, but here we can do something. Well, that was just quite out of range, but we can get in closer. Just get on the patio here. Is it a patio? I'm not quite sure. But once we are in range, 2 to 3 shots, take those guys down. And yeah, you can shoot pretty fast. Like, you have a big magazine size, even though there's nothing that alters it. 30 shots definitely don't hurt. I think we can go in there. Maybe, yeah, let's use the cry later, since those guys are spread out. Yeah, pretty accurate here. We used 14 shots, so... oh, legendary. Now, you can see we do have power. That's not the problem. As long as we can take down an enemy in a single magazine, and we do have all the necessary AP, we can take them down fairly effectively with half a magazine. It's quite fun, and we don't really have to bother with our health all that much, because, yeah, we're constantly gaining it back. Like, every second shot gives us a little bit of damage. You can obviously go for vampires, but I think since we're getting so much VETS crits, medics probably even heals us better than alright, there he is, than vampires would do. I'm just guessing here, but I think vampires gives you 2 HP per hit. So yeah, probably we're getting more HP from... alright, no, we didn't want those. Still not used to the new tab, so that would be the more intelligent case to use that one here. I don't know, do we want to stop here? I think we want to clear out some Scorched over there, and then we call it a video and go over to the perks. Which weapon didn't we see so much yet? Yeah, let's rock up the Plasma Caster for the last few enemies, and then we will take a look at the perks and everything. So overall, I think you get the theme here. While we're not able to use a lot of different energy heavy weapons, the Cryolator and the Plasma Caster alone, I think, cover, at least in terms of playstyle, a lot. Like, you do have this single shot weapon, which you do admittedly have with your pistols as well, but it just feels very nice to have this big clunky weapon here. Alright, fuck it, let's go for a Scorch Beast as well, just so you can see that. And the Cryolator is something for up close and personal fights. It has high fire rate, so one thing you can do is you can certainly use other heavy weapons as well. I'm talking about the Gatling Plasma or a Gatling Laser. You can do that. It's not at all a bad idea. The thing is, you really have to think about how you do it, and you have to get the right legendary effects. Now, one legendary effect that's detrimental in order to make that work, in my opinion, bit laggy by the way, I already hit him like 2 to 3 times. Here we see a good Vets chain, and we might as well use that, the extra damage from Gun Fu. We were quite lucky here. This fight could have been dragging out a lot more, but yes. On these occasions where enemies are kind of far spread, the laser weapon or your pistols are a good idea. They do have a little bit of range, they do have good accuracy, so you can definitely use them well in order to take down the remaining enemies. Let's see. No. Nothing worth it. Alright, and I think that's probably it. I'm just gonna retreat a little bit so we don't get swarmed while we're doing the perks. Yes, back to the topic. You can use Gatling lasers, for example, if you're using the charging barrels and the less VETS cost effect. However, the way you want to use those is you want to get a vantage point, you want to get on a cliff or a house and shoot from up there. It's just a very ammo efficient way to take down mob enemies. You basically burst fire, you're targeting an enemy's head, go for it, run out of AP, wait for it to refresh, and so on. That's pretty much your go-to. You can get lucky with Grim Reaper Sprint and Gun Fu, so you can actually take down 2 to 3 enemies at a time, which is really satisfying. However, I wouldn't really recommend it for general gameplay, simply because it's kind of bothersome. The charging up, the charging time, hope that's the right term here, can mess with you. You get swarmed very, very easily, so I could see how it's useful to carry one of those around in order to spare some ammo. But yeah, I think the weapon choices we had here were pretty well. Best thing you can always have is either less VATS cost or faster criticals, so you can get a critical on every second shot. Anyways, this was the gameplay part. I hope you did enjoy it. It's most certainly not the most powerful build, however, I found no situation where I was hopefully underwhelmed. I was able to do pretty much everything I wanted to do with this character, and especially when it comes to mob busting, like killing ghouls and such, it's actually very effective if you're using the weapons you want to, and it gives you a nice variety of playstyle, what you want to go for. So I really recommend this character if you want to go for energy weapons. That can be a good thing. Obviously, the looks are quite generic. The spacesuit is in the game for day one. The only thing that makes it a bit unique is the Jangles the Moon Monkey backpack, but that's about it. Now let's get right into it. This time around it's a bit more, because we do have quite a lot of weapons. Now when it comes to our effects, we do have Bird Bones, Chameleon, Eagle Eyes, Egghead, Herbivore, Marsupial, Speed Demon, and Unstable Isotope. Now the perks, the mutations we don't really need here are Chameleon and Unstable Isotope. Chameleon doesn't have a downside to us, so I just left it in. And Unstable Isotope, pretty much the same. It doesn't hurt us, and yeah, sometimes irradiate an enemy when it attacks you is okay, but you don't need that. What you want to have here is Speed Demon, Marsupial, Herbivore, Egghead, Eagle Eyes, and Bird Bones. Bird Bones, extra agility, means more action points to use. Eagle Eyes, more crit damage, more perception. We're always in that, so that's a no-brainer for us. Egghead, yeah, I think it fits the theme, and we're already so much down when it comes to strength that it doesn't really change a lot, so we might as well go for it. A bit more XP, never hurt anybody. Herbivore, well, pretty well-known fact. If you're going for ranged approach and ranged weapons, especially if you're going for VATS, Herbivore is very beneficial. The most effective thing probably is Blight Soup. I didn't use any buffs during the video. Well, that's a lie, I did use that Psycho buff accidentally, but you can really use the Blight Soup in order to give you more critical damage, which is the main focus on our character. We're getting the most part of our damage from criticals, so 40% extra critical damage, yeah, we take that. However, I didn't use it during the video, just to for you to see how the build performs on the base level. Keep in mind though, there's a lot you can do. You can use different soups or something in order to increase your action point refresh, which is all beneficial. And lastly, Marsupial and Speed Demon, well, those are on pretty much every one of my builds. More maneuverability, more reload speed. Pretty generic, pretty straightforward. Onto our equipment. In terms of weapons, this is the laser weapon we used, a anti-armor, VATS crit, VATS crit's filling faster, Laser pistol, very nice. This here Medic's Cryolator with the same secondary and tertiary effects. Those are the most vet-centered ones. And then we do have this quad plasma caster with limb damage. I just rolled a faster fire rate version, which would be better, but I didn't want to bother to put on the mods, and most definitely the prime receiver. So that's something. Prime capacitor on this occasion, sorry. And here we do have the quad faster fire rate plasma pistol, once again with the prime capacitor. Something I failed to mention here. We do have a prime capacitor on the laser pistol as well. That's because the damage potential goes up very much, and also crafting ammo, for me at least, was easier. You get a lot of ammo per bunch, and the flux you need is crimson for the fusion cells and cobalt for the plasma cells, plasma cartridges. So I tend to find it easy to get hold of them just by trading a weapon online or something, but that's up to you. You can definitely go for it without prime ammo, but I think the more sensible way to go for it here is prime ammo. Onto our armor, bit mixed matched here, all over the place. We do have a mutant sentinel piece, then we do have Vanguard's AP refresh, Vanguard with extra luck, weightless with extra luck and sentinel, and weightless with extra luck and weapon weight reduction. You see, 4 pieces have extra luck. I think I touched on that during the video. We want to have 23 luck in our stats permanently. There you can see it. We also have 20 agility, which is kind of nice, could be higher. Same goes for perception with 13, and our dumb stats in terms of raw stats are definitely strength, endurance and charisma. Intelligence at 15, very nice. You can get some good leveling up. Obviously you can get way higher if you're dedicated to it, but 15 is a nice round middle ground. So we go for that. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at our perks. This is the most important part probably. We do have 9 strength, traveling pharmacy, just so I can carry more chems, obviously. If you don't need that, blocker would be a sensible choice. If enemies run through, get a hit on you, that's nice. Lock and load could be nice, especially if you're using the the Cryolator a lot, because you have to reload a lot. But I'd argue it's not the most necessary perk, or you could just max out the heavy gunner perks rather than using rank 2 like I did here. So that's pretty much everything. We just wanted to have some more damage going on, and I felt rank 2 of every heavy gunner perk was kind of enough. Obviously another 15% of damage wouldn't hurt. Onto perception, we do have 9 perception, a bit boosted by our mutations, but that's what we have here. We do have tank killer, concentrated fire and glow sight. Now tank killer and concentrated fire, we want to get concentrated fire going on if we're missing the first or second shot, so we can sooner or later hit our enemy in the head. Tank killer, extra armor penetration with our pistols, we want to take that. The stagger chance is nice, but we're really looking for the armor penetration on this occasion. And glow sight, while it is a situational thing, it's something that does happen all of the time. Like, glowing enemies are quite abundant, they're here and there, so extra damage against them when we already have points in perception, yeah, not a bad choice in my opinion. Onto endurance, relatively low. We do have adamantium skeleton and fireproof at rank 2. Now adamantium skeleton, pretty simple. We want to be on the move, we want to run away from enemies if they get close on us, and being crippled can really hurt you in that occasion, because yeah, if they break your leg, you have to take a stim pack and then just be able to move again, so enemies have much more time to close in on you. Fireproof rank 2, pretty simple. We're kinda squishy, so we want to eliminate the chance of getting killed by a scorch piece or a random car explosion or anything. Onto charisma, rank 4 lone wanderer, nothing out of the ordinary here. Now if you could make room for it, Tenderizer would obviously be a good choice here. However, I went without it simply because I wanted to have the AP refresh from lone wanderer, and the extra tankiness certainly helps. Onto agility, we do have first aid, batteries included, and gunsmith. Now batteries included, obviously important simply because yeah, every single one of our weapons uses energy ammo, and carrying that around, especially plasma cartridges, they can weigh you down pretty easily. So having batteries included, definitely a good idea here. Gunsmith, arguably you can nowadays live without it. I still like it, especially on energy weapons. They're degrading not as fast as they used to, but yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to have Gunsmith, simply to keep your upkeep, your maintenance a bit lower. But feel free to do whatever you like here. You could also use Demolition Expert and use some grenades here and there. There's a lot of cool energy grenades you can use, plasma grenades. I do also always like cryo grenades or the pulse grenades, simply because they look cool, so might as well go for it if you want to. And last but not least, we do have first aid here. That's kind of important because we do run mostly Vanguard's armor, so if we're getting down to like 50% health or something and we want to take a stim pack, we don't just want to get back to 80% or something, we really want to get back to 100% health. So yeah, we're upfront in personnel, we're not using stealth, so enemies get shots in, we're constantly a danger. So if we want to use a stim pack, we really want to get the bang for our buck here. Agility, 2 ranks of Action Boy, Master Gunslinger, Gunslinger and Expert Gunslinger, 1 rank of Gun Fu and 3 ranks of Adrenaline. Now the obvious part here, Gunslinger, yeah, we want to max that out simply to get more damage with our pistols, and then it starts to get a compromise. Now 1 rank of Gun Fu, definitely necessary in my opinion. We really want to have that chains of Gun Fu going on. You saw that at the last fight when we were taking on some Scorched, and then the camera automatically switched with VATS to the Scorched Beast, and we really felt a little bit of extra damage here. But it just makes your gameplay more fluid, so at least rank 1 is nice here. Action Boy, rank 2. Now if you manage to get more legendary luck in order to get your luck high enough so you don't have to rely on so much luck pieces on your armor, you might as well go for 3 different powered pieces so you get more AP refreshed. You could definitely get away with not using Action Boy at a point and maybe use rank 3 of Gun Fu rather than rank 1. However, I found rank 1 to be enough. And last but not least, we do have Adrenaline at rank 3, but still we're getting a max of 48% extra damage, so that's happening in pretty much every fight sooner or later. 50% more damage roundabout, that's a nice thing to have, we won't say no to that. There's other options here. You could argue that maybe you can get away with a little bit of sneak simply because we have relatively high agility, but yeah, I felt Adrenaline was the most sensible option here. And on to luck, we do have Bloody Mess, Grim Reaper Sprint, Psychopath, Better Criticals, Starch Genes and Critical Savvy. Now Starch Genes is obvious, we want to keep our mutations. The most important thing here is Critical Savvy combination with Better Criticals, so we really rely on criticals to do damage, getting more damage out of them, pretty straightforward. Critical Savvy, that's important, you don't want to always start from a new crit meter that really hurts you, like you're talking about 4 shots or maybe 5 shots to get a critical instead of 2 or even 1 on some certain weapons. So Critical Savvy definitely necessary here. Then Grim Reaper Sprint, one of the most important perks here. Yeah, we really want to get AP back when killing enemies every now and then, and most of the time it works well. Like you saw it not work all that well on some occasions, but as I said, most of the times it worked quite well. Now this is exactly what I feared would happen. I just want to finish the video at this point, so we're going to retreat here, going a bit into coward mode. We're nearly finished, so we might as well. Last thing here, Bloody Mess. Now this is something you could go for 4-leaf clover, however on some weapons we already get a critical on every second shot anyways, and yeah, it's arguably not the best decision. I went for Bloody Mess, but it's certainly something you can decide for yourself. Do you want to go for 4-leaf clover or do you want to go for Bloody Mess for a bit of extra damage? It's not the most, it's not necessary, so well, up to you. And Psychopath, well, we just had 1 perk point left in luck, so I went for Psychopath. There's other options. You may as well go for a Curator, for example, if you find yourself having some energy bobbleheads lying around. That would be a good decision to just have a permanent a buff for 2 hours that gives you 25% extra damage to your energy weapons. That would be nice. And last but not least, we do take a look at our legendary perks, and on this occasion we solely have legendary perks that increase our special stats. 2 in agility, 3 in intelligence, 2 in endurance, 2 in perception, 3 in strength, and 3 in luck. Pretty straightforward, I'd say. Like, not a lot to talk about here. We just wanted to have more perks. More perks going on really helps us with our hybrid build, so we might as well want to use that. There's not a lot to talk about, I think. Obviously you can switch around a little bit. You never technically should use legendary charisma, because yeah, you should rather switch perk points into charisma and then use the ones you're losing on other legendary perks. Well, as I said, there's not a lot to talk about. This is, by the way, absolutely the wrong picture. I've taken the picture like a while ago, so that's the one we're looking at here. Looking at our old space station, now crater. Well, I was pretty proud of the photo, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm liking this background flare. No, not background flare. Well, anyways, these kind of stripes that go left and from left to right over the screen. I think you know what I mean. This is really something where my English starts to be not enough. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Last time I'm gonna say it, I promise. Yeah, it's a hybrid build. I know it's not min-maxed. There's obviously a lot more damage you can get out of it, but I feel like this was definitely powerful enough so I can justify using it. It's just, there's no situation you can't handle. You have a very powerful feel most of the time. If you're killing super mutants, if you're killing ghouls, you don't have a problem at all. Now you have a run and gun kind of approach. You do want to get into cover, or do outmaneuver enemies from time to time. You just can't stand there and face tank everything like you can with other builds. But that's something I don't feel like is a bad thing. If you go for something like this, you want to be on the move and outmaneuver your enemies. So I was pretty pleased with the build. Let me know what you think about it, and till then, see you guys, have fun, see you next time in the next video.